All right, g'day. My name's Rue. I'm here at Keystone Studios doing a little pre-production, recording an album tomorrow at RCA with my little student. He's not so little anymore. I've been teaching him since he's 11, little Rocco Gorlick. I'm really excited. But hey, I just want to say, before we dig into this conversation with my good friend, one of my favorite musicians in town, Mr. Christian Lee, thank you from the bottom of my heart to anyone who's viewed a video of mine, liked, commented, or subscribed. I started the year with 6 subscribers and I've got over 3,000 now, and I genuinely can't believe that. It's really amazing and I'm really thankful. I'm not asking everyone to like, comment, and subscribe, but if you do, it's really appreciated. It helps me keep going and gets me excited to keep showing you what it's like to live in Nashville, be a musician here, and keep interviewing these musicians and keep everything going. I really hope you enjoy this conversation with Christian. He's one of my favorite people and just a monster musician. And thank you again to everyone. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Cheers.
Works.
How are you, Christian?
Good. How are you, Rue?
I'm glad it works.
Yeah, it does work.
What is it? What is this setup we're playing through?
I just got an old 66 P bass going through a trick fish head and cab. And then I got my handy dandy pedal board over here.
I didn't know you had a 66. When did you get that?
I've had this I think it's been exactly 3 months.
Oh, it's
3
new.
4 months. Yeah, it's newish.
Ooh.
Yeah, not new to me, obviously, but it is definitely, yeah. It's everything I was looking for in a P bass.
So was there a big journey to find the right P bass? Has that been a thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of my dream bass, you know. Like,
Okay.
When I was thinking about moving to Nashville, like in my mind, I was like, I want to go down there, make some money, and then buy me a 66 P bass.
Why 66?
Pretty much. Honestly, I've always had the number 66 in my mind, and I never even knew why, just because, like, I don't know, like, a lot of good music was happening in 66, and I always loved that, just that year. But then I realized, like, with all the Fender stuff, like the transitional period, like, these basses are a lot cheaper than, like, a 62 or a 63, right. 64, any of those pre-CBS basses. So I was able to get pretty much pre-CBS bass without spending pre-CBS money, you know what I mean? Because it's the same parts that they were doing in 65, 64.
Right.
It's just the difference. I think the only difference is that they added the F on the back plate is the main difference with them.
Burn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so we've never talked about this. Moving to Nashville, where are you from?
I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas, right outside of Memphis. So not too far from
Memphis,
here.
Tennessee?
Yep.
I didn't know they were that close.
Yeah.
Really? That's like a thing. So you're not far from Nashville then?
Not at all. I mean, it's the same weather, same everything. Bunch of tornadoes.
So then, what is pre-Nashville? What does that look like? When did you graduate school and when did you move here?
I graduated high school in 2015 and then went to college for like technically half a semester. But on paper, it would probably be a semester. I went to school for a little bit and then just realized I just wanted to gig and get the knowledge on the street. And so I did a lot of gigging back in Arkansas before I made the move here. I mean, I probably was down there 5 or 6 years just gigging. Sometimes I'd pick up road work and I'd go play with whoever, just trying to get experience. And then I did a lot of session stuff, even while I was living down there, just going to studios like in Little Rock and stuff. So just trying to get all the experience I could on that level, you know?
Right. And so have you always played bass? I think when you moved here, I knew you as a guitar player for some reason. Yeah, I'm not sure why.
I was playing, before I moved down here, I just started playing a bunch of guitar back home because I grew up playing guitar. I was a guitarist from the time I was 4 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Young.
I picked up guitar at 4 and just started learning how to, literally, I was just learning by ear. My grandpa, I was raised by him, and so I had cassette tapes around the house still. And I would just put a cassette tape in, listen to it, and then try to play along with it and try to make it not sound like crap. So I did that for a long time, and then, you know, the bass just always stuck around. I mean, my grandpa had a bass around the house too, and then my uncle always came around. He had got into bass playing, and so he showed me videos of Victor Wooten and Flea and all the dudes that you would think of, you know, when it comes to bass.
Were those your earliest influences on bass?
Absolutely. Yeah, when I saw Flea and Victor Wooten, I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's cool. Because I was so young when I saw it. I was like, it's different. I know it's different, but I don't know what is so cool about it.
Right.
You
So you've moved from, you're gigging a ton in what's the gigging scene like in, and also I know it's pronounced Arkansas, you can't fool me because I'm Australian. No, I have no concept of, I'm being serious, of Arkansas, right? Like I've been to Little Rock passing through, I've gigged in Arkansas once. What is the gigging scene like there?
I mean, it's kind of like if I'm being honest, it's kind of the weekend warrior thing where you're doing a lot of Fridays, Saturdays. I mean, like, there's a college scene where we were from, so there was a lot of doing tailgate gigs down there where people just wanted a band. And then a lot of it was just playing bars. You know, I was in a pretty big band down there that was really popular in town, and we could pack out a bar on a Friday night and, you know, make $100 each, and that was a good night.
So that's like good money.
I mean, yeah, down there it was, at least for playing.
Right.
I mean, I was still working a job, so I'd work a restaurant for 8 hours and then go straight to a gig and then play a 3-hour show, you know.
And so, what did you go to college for?
Music education.
Oh, really? I did that,
Yeah, one of my, I did band and marching band and all that stuff, and so pretty early on, I was like, I thought I wanted to teach music. I was like, I want to be a band director. And then, you know, I got to college and kind of slowly realized I wanted to play instead of teach.
Right. And you'll get cancelled.
No.
Yeah. So the way you moved to, I remember when you moved to Nashville, we met pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
when did you move here again?
I moved June of 2024. Yeah.
Oh, it seems way more recent. And
Yeah.
at the same time,
Because it's been 2 years. I just hit my two-year anniversary.
it feels
in June.
so much further back, but it also feels like it. I remember the first time we played together and I didn't have an amp. And I had a modeler and I looked at you and I was like, dude, I am so sorry.
Yeah, because you knew I have a strong love for tube amps. I'm a guitar player at heart. I do love a good tube amp.
So you've moved here, and admittedly, and I'm thankful for this. Although one cat wasn't, you've kind of shaken up the scene a bit, right?
Yeah.
You're a bass player who can play like the hell out of some lines, and you can play changes, and you have a way of approaching chord tones and color that I've never quite, like we did that gig last Thursday and you were doing some stuff that you would notice I turn to you and suddenly I have to play different because you got to be on your toes. Most cats play it pretty safe, but you're really going for it. Can you, it's almost impossible to put into words, but what is that? Why is that? How does that come about where you're not just going to 1-5 it the whole time? How are you doing what you're doing? How are you getting there? And how does that development of that voice and those ideas begin?
Well, I think it just comes from having a lot of melodic stuff in my brain.
Okay.
I've listened to a lot of Motown music, and that's my favorite music, honestly. I used to listen, I mean, even when I was 10, 12, I was listening to Temptations, Jackson 5, all those early soul records, and all that stuff is just packed with melodies. I mean, even James Jamerson, the bass player, all that stuff he's playing, those are melodic lines, you know. And so when I started playing the bass, I was just like, I went and saw so many bass players play to where I was like, I want to do something different than just play the root note. and hold the foundation down. Which, I mean, that's awesome. And I'm honestly, a lot of times I'm jealous of guys that do that, and I've gotten better at doing that because it's more in demand down here. But like, I don't know, there's just something in me that was like, when I approach a song, and especially if I'm in a creative process in the studio or writing music with folks, like I want to add something that they can bounce off of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I feel like it makes the creative process funner. Just because, if you're sitting there playing, that feels awesome.
Yeah.
And for some stuff, that's exactly what you need. But I mean, for me, like in a room, I don't see that inspiring a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least for the music I've been trying to play, and it's kind of adding that like fusion jazz and like soul music into it. That's kind of been the roots of what I do.
So if we took that same bass line, say you're in C, so it was 1 flat 7. How are you going to take that from what you just played into? How do we Christian it? What are we doing?
How do we add some seasoning? I mean, you just add some extra stuff in there. You don't want to do anything too crazy, but you can throw some stuff in there and I heard one of the first people that I got into from here, I watched interviews of Glenn Worf. He's one of the top session players here, and like I saw a video of him saying, you want to fire up the band.
Okay.
And like that's when it first like hit my brain and what I was trying to do. I was like, that's exactly what I want to do, is fire up the band. Like you want the guitar player to look over and be like, that was cool, because then he's going to probably play some cool stuff too. You know what I mean? Like, and that's all it is to me, is just trying to inspire and like create a fire,
You like, it's funny, I've always called it this sedimentary music, which is the music where you play the part, and then there's reactionary, volatile music. And I noticed playing with you, you're more in that. There's things you do that bring out harmony that's really interesting. I've wondered, again, we've never talked about this stuff. Are you like a heavy theory guy, or
I'm not heavy theory at all.
Can you read music?
I learned to read music because I was in marching band, and I marched tuba and did all the sousaphone stuff.
You're a tuba guy?
Yeah.
Hell
so I had to learn bass clef and all that. But even like I played tuba before I started playing bass really full time. And so when I switched, like it was like tuba, the bass clef, obviously you're in bass clef on both bass guitar and tuba, but with tuba I was reading a lot lower, as far as range of notes go. And then I realized that once I got bass guitar music in front of me, that it was more in the range of like a trombone.
Okay, yeah.
So then like I had to figure out how to read all the higher notes and all that stuff. So I can read bass clef for sure. And I did all the all-state jazz stuff, all the audition stuff. So I had to learn all that. But as far as like, I really don't think about all of the stuff in a theory way.
Okay, yeah.
Like I'm really just for me, it's reactive.
Okay, yeah.
Like I hear something and then my brain is like, okay, this is what I match with it. It's almost like putting a puzzle together in my brain,
Do you find, I've been thinking about this a lot. Kenny Werner talks about the space, right? You hit a space where you're not worried about notes, you're worried about like feelings and intention. Do you find yourself reaching for that? You kind of almost like you'll do something and it's like you're watching yourself play it, if that makes sense. Do you find that?
A little bit. I mean, and a lot of it is feel,
Right.
I feel like a lot of it's just like making sure it doesn't feel out of place. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's a lot of it. It's like, because you kind of eliminate the stuff. I mean, it's like sight reading a tune, when you sight reading a piece, you look at the key signature, you look at your feel, you look at your tempo, and immediately you can knock out what you don't want to do on the song.
Right.
So like it's kind of the same with your ear. If I'm on a bandstand and they play a song I don't know, then I'm thinking, okay, what kind of song is this? What key am I in?
Right.
And then I immediately knock out what I'm not going to be doing on this song, you know?
You made a comment once that stuck with me. In passing, I was setting up for a gig, you were packing down, and you just went, yeah, I'm fixing to go to the house, I'm just going to play along to some tunes, try and dial in that pocket. And I just, you laughed as you said it, but it had a bit of an effect on me because I got home from my gig and thought like, man, I want to go investigate that. And you were talking to me about Michael Rhodes at the time. So you've studied him, and I mean, we can't, it's, you know, it's really sad he passed away. We can't talk about him enough, but you've got a monster pocket, dude. Playing with you, it's like, you know, I can't contain it. Remember, we're on the gig and I just start, I'm like screaming how good it is. Like I'm yelling, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
What does developing a pocket, a groove, and a sense of time and identity within that, what does that look like to you? What does that take? Like, how did you get from just playing bass to being like able to invoke like a groove? How do you get there? I think that's a big thing, and this is for any musical instrument, you know?
Yeah.
How do you get there?
Well, I think for me, it's just having a love for every instrument, and like the drums. The drums are one of my favorite instruments.
Right.
When I was growing up in Arkansas and doing a lot of my woodshedding down there, I just watched drummer videos sometimes.
Really?
You know, because like it got to the point where I was like, I'm watching all these bass players, but how many times am I going to be on stage with another bass player? None. For the most part. I mean, I would love to get on stage with like Nick Wells or something. That'd be cool. We could probably make something happen.
you and Nick are my...
Yeah, we could make a double bass thing work. If people have asked for it.
I'll book it. I don't get... I'll get in trouble for saying it, but you two are my favorite bass players.
Yeah. He's my buddy. I love his playing. He's amazing.
I imagine you get compared a lot, but I find you two very different players.
Oh yeah. I feel like we have different approaches.
Yeah.
He's an Alabama boy, and they've got their own sauce too. You know, I mean, all the Muscle Shoals stuff that's happened down there. I mean, there's a sauce that comes out of that place that's just different. There's so many good Alabama musicians here.
Name one. Time's up.
Colin Wells. It's only because I watched his podcast. But yeah, I would say the drum, like just being a fan of drums and just wanting to lock in with a good drummer.
What's a great drum video I can dig into then?
I would say Sput, Robert Sput Seawright from Snarky Puppy. There's a drum video that Mino posted a long time ago of them playing "What About Me."
Okay.
And literally, it's just a drum cam and it's just him playing. I've watched that probably 150 times.
Oh, so that's... I find this interesting. A lot of musicians have a video, and that's one of yours. Do you have any others? Do you have any specific, like, this is the YouTube video that like I can finish?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was Snarky Puppy. I mean,
really,
I would watch Michael League, and you know, I mean, the
you should have gone to Berkeley, mate.
There was a dream at one point, you know. But, I mean, being a kid in Arkansas, I was just trying to find all the best stuff that I could find. And luckily, I had people around me that, like, put me onto that stuff. Like, my band director, he wasn't a jazz player or anything by any means, but he knew what I was into, and he could tell that I was hungry for something, you know, that was different. And he's the one that showed me Snarky Puppy. And he showed me this, and he was like, hey, like, I think you might like this. And, like, I started watching it, and I'm like, this is a killing drummer, killing bass player, and I just like fell in love with it. And I mean, I think Michael League, I would say to this day, is still one of my top influences.
He's a monster.
Yeah, just like how melodic he is soloing, and I mean, and just in the pocket as a player too. I mean, me and Elijah were watching some of his stuff the other day, playing with Roosevelt Collier.
Ooh.
And I was like, that pocket, dude, like he's playing the same thing the whole time, but he does it in a way that it just sounds so good, and feels so good.
And Hank Jr. was biting your hand the whole.
Yeah,
I should explain how you got a pup.
I just got a puppy. Yeah,
he's 8 weeks. I was over last week.
He's probably 9 weeks now.
9 weeks,
I think. I haven't. I
He's-
may be wrong on dates.
He's
but-
more into biting than he was last time I saw him, and that was a
Yeah.
week ago.
He's just like his daddy. I'm a biter too.
Don't I know it? So look, I find that's a common thread. Is a lot of musicians have a video. Mine is Tommy White. At the end of his instructional, just randomly plays a C6 solo for the C6 DVD he never made, and I can get to the end of a day, and that's my thing. If we remember, I'll get that minor link. I'll put that in the description so people can watch that, because I find it really fascinating. All the musicians I know kind of have this. It's like a safety video now, but I guess it used to be an album. But if you had like maybe say 3 max. Doesn't even have to be 3, it could be 1. Are there any albums that you can go back to and, at the end of a day where you're just like, you know what, I'm giving up, I'm done, like I can't do this. You've got that video. What's an album that just to you is like the quintessential, like this is part of my DNA?
I mean, I go back to Thriller all the time.
Really?
Michael Jackson.
I didn't expect that. Yeah.
Thriller and Off the Wall. I mean, the bass playing on.
What
that
if you
stuff
had to
is-
pick?
It'd be Off the Wall.
Really? Yeah. What's
Lewis Johnson on bass. I mean, he's one of my bigger influences too. I don't slap near as much as he does, but he's the first person that got me wanting to slap for sure.
Can you slap?
A little bit. I mean, I can do the. I can't do any of the the crazy, just like Victor Wooten, just sextuplets and triplets and.
What I love about you is you always tell me, oh yeah, I'll give it a go, and then you just proceed to because you have a beautiful way with your playing and personality disarming a fellow musician into being like, oh, he's about to be okay at slapping, and then it's the clearest thing I've ever heard. I think something I've always appreciated about you, because you've played with me a bunch over the last 2 years, and you've watched me go from whatever that was to whatever this is,
Right.
clay to clay or whatever. Yeah. But you've got a beautiful temperament and approach to disarming other musicians and making them feel welcome on stage no matter what happens. And what does that take? What is that for you? Because that's such a incredible, social skill to have, but also as a fellow musician, that's just a thing of beauty, is that someone else can make you feel comfortable to express yourself. And you have a beautiful way of doing that. I wanted to kind of dig in, and you're very community, I notice you're community-based and very loving, and I appreciate that. And what is that for you? Where does that come from? And is that a conscious thing, or is that just part of Christian? Or
It's a bit conscious, because I won't lie. In the past, there's been times where I've played with people that, that I didn't feel like probably were on the level they should be. And there's times where you want to be frustrated. But I also realize that everybody's on this journey. And everybody's on different paths, we're not going to all hit the finish line at the same time, and some of us may never hit the finish line. To me, I'm always working. I'm always trying to get better at something. But I just feel like, there's ways you can go about interacting on a stage that doesn't ruin the morale for the gig. You know what I mean?
Can we, that's a common issue that's occurring more and more in Nashville, I'm finding, is frustration on the gig.
Right.
And I know with you, if we had an issue, it'd get squashed in 2 seconds, and the boys we hang out with, it's like that. But what does that look like to you? How are you keeping high morale even in a position where perhaps you're like, you know what, I want to be at the house right now?
Right. Well, yeah, it's just a matter of not taking yourself too seriously. At the end of the day, we're playing music, and we're not in a hospital trying to, cut somebody open or anything. It's not a life or death situation.
I'm glad it's not us trying to do that, by the way.
You wouldn't want me to do it. I'd probably mess it up. Because I mess up more than people think. And that's what's cool about music. I think a lot of it for me is making the mistakes into something good. There's a video I had pop off a little bit. We totally missed the ending of a song. It was a Waylon Jennings song. I think it was Ain't Living Long Like This. But yeah, we totally missed the ending. I ended the song. They didn't. The singer didn't end the song, and then I think Austin and Elijah were just looking at me like, "What's going on?" And so like I just said, "Start her back up." And I mean, you could see in the video like we just do a reprise. We go back into another solo section, and then we finally end it. Like we wanted to end it in the first place. I think, and like, in a moment like that, we could have ended the song afterward and been like, pissed at ourselves. But, like, to me, you just laugh it off and you move on to the next thing, you know? And I think I've been around band leaders that aren't fun to be around because they take everything so seriously. I played with artists that'll, come over and chew you out because you didn't hit harmonies on the first gig you've ever played with them. So like I've been there, and I've realized how much energy that takes out of people when you do that. Like, and I think witnessing situations like that is a good thing because you can realize, oh, this just took probably all the energy out of the room when you could have just maybe said something later, or anything, but to me, it's all about morale and just keeping everybody cool on the gig. You want to have a good time at the same time.
Yeah. I think that's real sweet.
Yeah.
I think that's real sweet. Oh, yeah. You touched on Elijah and Austin. Wait, a clarification. Elijah who?
Elijah Boone.
Your roommate.
My roommate.
And then
one of the hottest pickers.
And then I thought you were going to say GQ's hottest man, and I was like, it's the hair because I know he washes it. And then Austin
Clark.
And he's a fella who's always drumming in your videos, and he's got that same way of keeping time off his face you do. That's awful funny, but you realize how much it does.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that's a big reason why our videos have popped off the way they do. I mean, we both kind of look like goobers in it. So, I think people stop and go, wait, what is happening here? But then I think they stay because we're actually playing,
right?
And like really enjoying ourselves. And that's the whole reason I started making those videos is because Austin got on the gig. I mean, we had a couple different drummers on that gig before. We'd had a couple different guitar players. Elijah had got on that gig before Austin, and Austin and Elijah lived together at the time. Mm-hmm. And so when we needed a drummer, I was like, hey, call Austin. Let's bring him down here and have him play. And once he started playing, I was like, I love this dude. Like,
right.
Not in like weird way, but like.
No, it was weird.
But like, he's a dude that like, he's gonna get him a drink too, and we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna laugh and make jokes between songs. Like that's the kind of people I want to be on a gig with. And it goes back to keeping the morale high. Like right. You can't take yourself too serious. And I mean, if anybody comes and watches us, they're going to know that we don't take ourselves that serious. I mean, we do. We take the music serious, but like, as far as being on the stage together, I mean, it's just good to have a good time. And like I was saying, like that's the whole reason I started making those videos, because I was like, we are having a really good time right now, and people need to see this.
Right.
We
did a Saturday 610, made $102, and I still tell everyone, I subbed out a $300 gig for that, and they're like, do you regret it? And I was like, I didn't miss anything, dude. I played with you and Gator and Addison, and I had that's the most fun gig I've had all year.
For sure.
And look, you have popped off on Instagram. You got, what, 10,000?
I'm up to 13,000 right now. I'm a little bit above that, but.
How does that happen? When we met, you had, I don't know, typical like me, following as many as you.
When I moved to Nashville, I had 1,000 followers maybe.
So how does, what apart from the classic, I've got to post myself to get work, what was the moment where you kind of went like, oh, this is popping off? What was the video? What sparked it? Was there a one video, or was it just a build?
Yeah, there was one video that I mean, it was kind of almost like a climb. Mm-hmm. Like I started seeing a couple videos that would do pretty decent. It was like, because I used to get like 50 likes on a post, maybe at most, when I first moved here. Like I said, I had maybe 1,000 followers, so maybe 50 likes, and then it got to where I was getting 100, 150 mm-hmm. likes on a post, and then all of a sudden I'd post another video and it'd get 300, and then I'd post something and it'd get 600. And then, you know, I had one video, I woke up the next day and it had 1,500 likes. And to me, I was like, that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, man.
You know, I was like, at the time, there's probably more people that followed me. And so, yeah, it just kind of grew. But I mean, the main video that kind of blew up, it was, and I've gotten better at like the caption stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a big thing of it is just like, for me, I try to put something ridiculous that's still like PG-13 catches the eye of these folks, because like that's the whole thing. Like you got to stop the scroll, because most people are at home doom scrolling on their phone, watching all these videos of musicians or whatever pops up on their phone. It's probably not just all music, but they're watching stuff, and you have to make them go, wait a minute. Let me see what's going on here.
We were talking about that. Elijah has the brick on the fridge. I have the pause box so I can stop the apps. You're right. It is the doom scroll is hectic.
Yeah.
But I know there's something about infection. You do have fun. I mean, you do have fun caption. What was the caption on that video? What were you playing, and where were you playing, and tell us the whole thing.
I'm pretty sure it was a Folsom Prison Blues solo or something fast for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, I made a joke about me biting earlier. It's because I bite my teeth when I play a lot of the time.
Right.
I've had people say it to me my entire life. You know, they'd be like, "Why are you chomping over there?" But yeah, I just like, and people were starting to comment on some of my videos. I noticed how I was keeping time. And so I made the caption that said, "So fast that I lost all my teeth." And dude, that video, I mean, I woke up the next day and it had like 10,000 likes. Damn. And then, I mean, the way Instagram's weird, you kind of, once a video pops off, it kind of just keeps going, and it can resurge too. But yeah, like I looked on it maybe a week later and it had like 50,000 likes. And I mean,
oh wow!
Right now, yeah, right now,
got like that.
Right now, as it sits, it has 70,000 likes and almost over 800,000 views.
So and what kind of amp are you using again? And all your pedals and what strings do you use?
Trickfish amplification, which they kindly gave me this on a deal. I mean, it was the very first endorsement thing I ever got. Ever.
Oh, awesome!
I got this before I even moved to Nashville. I was in Arkansas and I was starting to do some road work, and they were nice enough to send that stuff to me. So. And as you can tell, it's got scrapes and everywhere. It's been in trailers and it's my oldest rig, but it's a good one, and I've been real happy with it. I usually play through it here a lot. I mean, we don't have many bass rig movements going on here,
right? Because
I mean, usually we show up and play somewhere, and there's a bass amp sitting there for us.
Yeah.
And if I'm going anywhere, if it needs a bass amp, I'm just taking like a Fender Rumble or something.
Something easy.
Yeah, something easy to load.
When you talk about social media, like the irony is we're going to post this on social media, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about before this a bit about kind of like, and I feel like this is a more prevalent conversation, like musicians' mental health in regards to social media. How do you manage that? Do you think about perhaps like, I have to post today or I have to do this? Does that kind of stuff cross your mind? Like, are you worried about that stuff ever?
I mean, I've kind of slowed down on it, honestly. I'm sure people notice. Like, when I first started doing it, I was really trying to push it, and I was like, I need to get a video out every single day. And I had a set time, and literally the night before, I would go through and edit my videos, and I would sometimes I would have 4 just in my draft, 4 or 5.
Wow.
Just set up, that way, just if I got to a day where I was, having a rough day and working hard, and I just didn't have the time to really go in and look for something, I would just have something already ready to go.
Wow, yeah.
So I did that for a while when it first started popping off. But now, I mean, I'm just gotten to where I'm just trying to like stay content with myself and take care of stuff at home. Try to take care of myself better.
Hank Jr.
Take care of Hank Jr. And yeah, and I mean, honestly, there's times where I'm on the gig and I mean, I don't think most people don't want to just prioritize playing into a phone, I mean, there's people there that's our job is to entertain people.
Right.
So, I mean, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that. I mean, you got a lot of people, there's people that comment on my videos, they tell me, go live on TikTok, set up a GoPro and give us another angle. And it's like, I could, but that's not my job. And that takes a whole other, it takes time out of the whole thing. And I'm trying to focus on putting on the best show that I can for the people that show up to watch me play.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's gotten. I mean, luckily with these videos popping off and Elijah's videos popping off, I mean, there's people that show up from your land, Australia, and,
Oh, God, avoid them.
But really, there's people that show up we had people show up from Norway
I
a
showed
month
up.
ago.
That's how I showed up to the gig to sit in for the first time, if you remember.
Yeah.
And Addison was like, I don't know who you are, sit in and play some.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, there's players that, and most of them are musicians, and some of them aren't, which is cool too. But there's people that show up and want to see us play, and at that point, that's kind of where I was like, I'm less worried about the content versus what I'm doing in front of these people that want to see me play.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when I started the content, really nobody was showing up to watch us play.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason I started doing it, because I was like, I want people to see this and see that we're actually doing something pretty cool.
I think.
But yeah,
Lord knows it's one of my favorite bands to play with.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a cool thing too. I mean, I feel like we've gotten to a point where we can call cooler and better players, and I mean, it's not nothing against anybody, but it's cool to see the progress that we've made. We're like some of the cats in town, like Matthew Lee and Mateus Cantry.
Oh yeah.
Like those guys. I mean, I've played gigs with them now, and like that's stuff that I feel like wouldn't have happened if I hadn't put myself out there on social media.
Right.
Because you got to put yourself out there. That's the whole thing. I mean, everybody jokes about self-promotion in Nashville, but I mean, you have to make a name for yourself.
I think there's a fine line, right? There's this one band I've seen. It's more of a rock band, but the singer sets up the second phone and has TikTok, and it's like standing where the other singer would normally stand, and like plays half to the crowd, half to the TikTok. And I think that's a bit, I get it, but that's a bit odd. It's like, watching someone play a show to TikTok, but then there's the point of, I noticed you just leave the phone on. We were on the gig and you left it recording for like 45 minutes, and then you'll go through and cut and dry and paste. Do you ever find, I mean, you don't do anything special. It's just your phone, right? You don't do any audio?
Yeah, just my phone, no audio. And I've even had people ask me, they're like, is that the in-ear mix? I'm like, we're at Layla's and there's no in-ears.
There's not even a sound engineer.
There's 2 speakers, a PA system with no subwoofers.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 monitors too.
And we don't even get an engineer. It's hey, stand out the front. Is my vocal good? Yeah.
Yeah, if it's feedback, and that's on us. And then we have to, after the song ends, we go over and have to adjust. So yeah, it's a lot of DIY, and that's another thing with making content. It's like, not only are we working down there playing and trying to entertain folks and make our living, but we're having to run the sound for ourselves too. So like that comes into play when people ask me, about different camera angles and doing all this, and like that would be awesome, but like I said, we've got obligations down there to put on a good show. So I don't want to make it completely about the social media stuff, but and like you said with the TikTok stuff, people haven't. I mean, I've heard of people losing gigs over that stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not surprised, but I've not heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of people losing calls because I mean, I don't.
Do you mean me?
Not you, but I've seen, it's tough when a band leader turns around and you're trying to communicate with your guys and your guys talking to a crowd on TikTok.
Oh, you mean they're actually live during the gig? Because I think you and I just kind of set up the phone and set and forget. And
right, which that's my way. Like,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Like there's guys I know that they only record their solo, like when it's time to solo, then they try to hit record. And to me, that's a little distracting for me. I can't just stop playing and hit record. I mean, there's times where I've done that. There's times where I'm like, oh crap, I'm not recording, and I want to do something cool here. And I'm like, okay, let me try to get it. But most of the time, I literally just leave it recording, and I go back and watch later and just look for any moment that was like, oh, that was a good moment. We were having a good time, And that's kind of my. at least that's what I look for when I'm posting. I just want
Okay.
if it's something I enjoy and I think is funny or entertaining or good musically, then that's what I post.
I like that. I think there is something joyous about your playing. You're always having fun, and I do.
Yeah.
Do you ever find you kind of start leaning on the weight of the world sometimes when you play downtown, right? Because I want to have fun playing, but maybe I have to take this soul crushing, play 1/5, play the record note for
Right.
note to pay rent. Do you compartmentalize that, or is that just kind of you're in a very lucky position? I think downtown the luckiest position in that you primarily make money playing reactive music and music it's
Right.
improvisatory and is fun and I'm very jealous of that personally because I wish I did that full time. But
Yeah.
I do take a lot of the kind of I call them demon gigs where But do you compartmentalize these kind of things? Do you kind of have a mode where you shut it off, or are you not going to take a gig? Like, what if you had to run ears and with tracks, but the money's good?
Right.
Do you have a line with that thing?
I don't really have a line. I mean, downtown, I try to just stay playing with my friends and playing music that I really enjoy for the most part now. I mean, when I first moved here, I was doing a lot of just, honky tonk central third floor. We're playing nothing but the hits, and and
So
there's
nothing
maybe,
but no one.
Yeah, and there's maybe 2 people there, including the bartenders.
There's 2 people there, but there's 3 bartenders.
Yeah, one definitely didn't show up.
I will say that one bar though, they're my favorite bartenders downtown. They're all the sweetest, kindest people.
For sure. Which but I had good times in there, and that's honestly how I learned a lot of the stuff that gets played that you just kind of have to know. Because those were my first gigs, and I show up and I'm having to play Dixieland Delight, and I'm having to play Should Have Been a Cowboy, and all these songs that are played the Broadway way. But that was my first exposure to it. So I'm glad I went through that. But now I'm kind of in a position where I can choose what I want to do, and I book my own gigs sometimes, and I'm able to put bands together. And with the Thursday night thing, like Justin Wayne, he's pretty much our band leader, and he fronts the band and runs the bucket and all that stuff. But he pretty much gives me free reign to hire the musicians that I feel fit our needs, and I think that's a big thing in Nashville that a lot of people don't touch on. Is just talent scouting and knowing where players fit. You know what I mean? Because not every player is not going to be the best fit for every gig,
Right. Let's actually, before we get to doing some jamming, let's touch on that. It can be really difficult losing a gig sometimes, and it can be really difficult finding work and finding your place, right? And especially as a improvisationally based musician, where Nashville's definitely moved towards the kind of hey, just play the record and you do all that other stuff in your own time. But we obviously have kind of said, no, I'm developing a voice and you're going to hear it. And I've watched you do that over the last 2 years. You've watched me do that. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think, when you're talking about finding the right musician, right? You're talking about maybe this isn't your gig. You've been told that, I'm sure. Dude, same as me. You've gotten it from your playing to perhaps a physical thing to you don't have this look, or maybe you don't sing the right harmony.
For sure.
How do you work through things like that? Because I often get texts about this and questions, and I'd love to hear your opinion on perhaps just you really wanted something and it just didn't work out. How do you take that? What happens?
It's tough, and a lot of people go through that in this town. But I think it just takes getting out and not being afraid, even after you go through something like that. Just going out and trying to meet people that are like-minded, that aren't going to look at you and care about how you look or what you're going to play. There's people out there that will accept you for who you are. Is what I learned, and it took me a long time of just. I'd have guys that are on touring gigs that that are on bigger touring gigs that messaged me and reached out and were very encouraging and was like, hey, what you do is cool, somebody's going to call you for what you do.
Yeah.
And that was a big help, was just having guys like that. I mean, one of the first guys that did that for me was Taylor Jones. He's Jake Owen's drummer.
Okay.
And Taylor's an absolutely phenomenal drummer. But, I mean, there was a time where I was really down in the dumps. I mean, when I moved here, I was on a bigger road gig, and I was getting paid good money. It was the most money I'd made, ever.
It got you a 66p, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, it was the best money I've ever made. I didn't have to worry about anything, but at the same time, I was getting criticized for my playing and how I looked and what I was wearing when I showed up at the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it was
gotten that.
nitpicky. Yeah.
I got asked. Do they not have fashion in Australia? When I showed up for a cold 5 a.m. bus call in sweatpants and a random hoodie.
Exactly, because you've got people that they want to live the rock star life, and they expect a band that's going to show up looking like rock stars.
Right.
That's what you run into, which to me that's just not my thing. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up watching jazz fusion musicians who showed up to the gig and sweats and in a Miles Davis t-shirt and sneakers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my vibe, you know? I mean,
Differently sized sneakers, different colorways.
Yeah, and so people just got to understand, I mean, if somebody doesn't get along with what you're putting out, I mean, it's maybe just not the right fit.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to accept that, especially when you're in a situation like I was in, where I'm making good money, I feel attached to the music and everything that's going on, you know? And, I mean, that's tough, but, I mean, like I said, you have to just figure out and think of the positives and think, okay, I'm going to find my way, you know?
I think your gratefulness and grace in approaching the gigging world is really beautiful. I think it's really nice that, it can just tell how stoked you are to do this. Even sitting here with me, you know, you're
for sure.
You know, it's just. I think there's a reason that you are commanding a space within the bass world, especially within the Nashville bass world, is beyond the playing. You just have an uplifting spirit, and I commend you for keeping that. You know, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to get tough, but I love that you do it. You know?
Trust me, it does get tough. I've had a lot of tough moments, but like I said, it's just finding the positives in it all. Because I mean, I could be back home flipping fries like I was when I was 21 years old.
Oh God,
you know what I mean? That's what I think.
I worked in a call center, dude.
Yeah.
So I get it.
So anytime I make $100 on Broadway playing the music I really enjoy and I had a good time, especially like you were talking about that gig with you. I mean, I think back to the time I was making $70 to be in a restaurant for 8 hours with people I didn't want to be around, you know? So
here's the last thing. I keep saying last thing, but then we keep talking. I've kind of been on this wave of thinking about this, right? It's really hard as a musician and a creative not to talk about yourself at any given point, right? Because we kind of view everything through the lens of how we relate to it. And I guess that's human nature. You have openly talked with me about dealing with a lot of egos in the music industry and even within yourself, perhaps sometimes struggling with your own. Could you touch on maybe just one or two things that you find keep you in check in that regard? Because it's got, you know, especially when you're getting... It's hard when the dopamine might be provided I'm at 50,000 likes. Oh, I'm at 60,000. Oh, I just hit 13K. And you mentioned taking a step back from that and noticing that I think you were inadvertently saying I did this for my own mental health because it was getting overwhelming. Could you talk perhaps just a little about perhaps how you feel the ego ties into something like that? Because it must be hard, especially when everything's quite hot, not to develop a kind of well, here I am and I'm the guy,
right.
Even if it's for one day, that's your day, right?
Because, I mean, every musician, to me, you got to have an ego to get on a stage and perform for people.
Right.
There has to be an ego there to some extent. I mean, not look at me, this is what I do, but kind of at the same time,
right.
You know? But, to me, it's reading the room and just knowing how to treat people and keeping the energy up. It goes back to the morale thing, you know. You don't want to have the morale low because you walked up to somebody and said, "Oh, look, this person follows me. This person, look what I did with this person today."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people in this town, people that I've played for, that they name drop and they try to throw all their accolades at you, and you know that doesn't feed into any relationship with the people that you're around when you do that. You know, and I think that's the big thing, is feeding into a relationship and building a community with people.
There's a kind of famous New York jazz story. Sorry to interrupt, but there's a funny New York jazz story of a quite popular Instagram guitarist, jazz guy, showing up to private lessons and bringing his the new school grades printed out to show the teachers, and they were like, "Okay, how about we just play Stella in E?"
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that kind of relates to what you're saying. You know, interestingly, I think this can relate to a self-consciousness. Where do you find the line between name dropping and just mentioning something? Because that's an interesting thing. You know, we've touched on a lot of names of our friends and perhaps people we like. You know, and it's a fraught subject because you want to be able to tell your friends, "Oh, I met this guy, and oh, I got to do this with this guy." But where do you find there's a line? Is it a fine line, or is it pretty blurry, or is it a broad strokes?
It is blurry because, I mean, if somebody asks you what you've been up to, and you know, and that's what you're up to, it's hard to, you know, like when I first became friends with Luke McQuarrie, that's one of my best buddies.
I love Luke, yeah.
And like, it was, you know, there was a fine line I knew I had to ride on, you know, talking to people and being like, "Oh, this is what I'm up to."
Right.
You know, because, you know, you don't want to just name drop over and over and be like, "Oh, I get to play with this guy. This is who I'm hanging out with."
Yeah.
You know, but it's like...
But you are playing with him, and he is your friend. So.
Right. So it does get tough because, like, you're excited about it. And, like, Luke's a guy, like, I watched videos of him before I moved down here. And, like,
same,
it's a guy I dreamt of playing with. I mean, when I moved to town, in my head, I was like, I want to be a bass player and I want to play with all my favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
You know, that was the dream.
And then he's outside our Layla's gig, and I'm like, "Nice fishing shirt. What are you caught?"
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's just stuff.
It's
like
just
that.
another guy,
Yeah,
right?
it's exactly like when I met him, we met at IHOP.
Really?
You know, yeah, it's like.
Was that planned?
We met in the alley behind Roberts, and you know, and I think he just knew I was country as he was. And
At the IHOP.
Yeah.
God.
We ended up meeting up at IHOP after that, and yeah, I mean, he hadn't been able to get rid of me since.
Well, speaking of getting rid of, before we pop off, what are you working on right now? What's something you can show us that you're working on, whether in broader strokes or like a macro movement? What's something you're currently consciously working on within your playing?
I would say just trying to keep everything fresh and not just play the same ideas over and over.
Okay.
I think is what I'm working on, and that's kind of why I've slowed down on a little bit of the posting, because you know this too. I mean, you listen back to the videos and
I don't.
You're like,
I don't listen back. God no.
But you listen back and you just go, I played that on the last video. You know what I mean? You start hearing, and like, I mean, so mainly for me, it's just keeping it fresh and not wanting everything to just be monotonous. And I mean, it's hard when everybody has their licks and everybody has their identities. And like guitar players struggle with that, I know, especially. But it's hard just to find something that you can change. And sometimes you just have to look for just little smaller ideas, or just even playing more simpler. You know, there's times where I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to do this fast run," but then I'm like, "Wait, that's what Christian would do." And then I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to do what Christian wouldn't do here and just play something not." You know what I mean? Like, I'll just hammer on just like hammer on a rhythm or something instead of just playing, just because I can play all the notes, but like everybody knows that, and that's what and I could do what everybody would expect, But I think when you get to a true art of inspiration, and especially just improvising, you want to have just something different,
Right.
and you always want to shake it up.
Yeah.
You know, and I got that from Warren Haynes, watching a video of him with Rick Beato. You know, he's like, anytime I'm looking for an improv to where I can change things up, I'd go with exactly what I would do opposite. And so, like, that's what I learned is probably the best idea.
So then, what's the favorite tune to play right now? Or something you played recently where you were just like, you know what, this is happening. I liked it. I'm liking this.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one because we kind of run into playing the same stuff downtown, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Ramblin' Fever never gets old to me.
Then I just want you to send us off with some just playing over some Ramblin' Fever. And I know that's hard because we've got that guitar intro. I just want to hear you play some bass, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd kind of do some cool stuff at the beginning because, like, you know, it does it.
All right, take a solo.
You know, like, I mean, I just try to, like,
God
'cause,
damn it.
you know, like, and that's the cool stuff I've, like, learned, and I mean, like, my buddy Nick Wells, he's good about it. He'll, like, matching the guitar parts at the right moments, you know? That stuff's cool. I mean,
You've got an intuition with that. We did that, and I know you do that.
Yeah.
You have huge ears on you. For
yeah,
that.
I mean, it's listening and just knowing when to lock in, you know?
Dude, Christian, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank
Yeah,
you for doing this with me,
appreciate you,
man.
man.
Let's go grub up before the gig.
Yeah, absolutely.